Greetings and salutations. I'm going to do a spoiler-packed review of episode 2 of season 2 of The Last of Us called Through the Valley, not a reference to my beloved San Fernando Valley. I wasn't going to do anything for this episode and possibly going to wait till the finale of the season just because turns out I wasn't getting screeners past the first episode ahead of time. Also, I was watching WrestleMania tonight, but given how that ended versus the intensity of this Last of Us episode, I probably should have just watched The Last of Us instead. But couldn't make up for that. But once I watched this Last of Us episode, I thought, okay, I just got to talk about it because it was a lot to talk about. All right, one more spoiler warning. Okay, let's go. So this is the thing that I'd been spoiled on for years now because I mentioned last week, played the first game, didn't play the second game, but couldn't avoid people yelling online about Joel being killed in that game. I also knew he died early on in that game, so knew that had to be coming. Wondered when it would happen because even though I knew it was an event early in the game, I thought, well, they want to have Pedro Pascal, maybe this will last longer. And they said they were splitting the game into at least 2 seasons. So I thought, oh, so maybe he'll somehow still be around for most of this entire season, if not the entire thing. Nope. He's gone now. He is just completely taken out. I'm very curious for people who managed to not be spoiled and hadn't played the game and hadn't been spoiled, how they're going to react to this because huge deal here, right? The face of the show, the biggest star going into this show, is gone. I'd been well prepared for it. I also knew there was a contingent of fans of the game who hated it, who were so angry about it. Other people thought the game was a beautiful, powerful, poignant game. All I can say is watching this, I thought this was an amazing hour of television. There was so much happening in it. The fact that it was going to end with Joel's death, it's like, wow, that's crazy considering what we went through emotionally, just sort of the excitement, terror, tension building up to that even was all fantastic, I thought. That sequence when Abby is being chased, when that group of the creatures come out of the ground and start to chase her, and it's like, unending, just there's so damn many of them. It was absolutely terrifying and just very clever. Again, I don't know exactly what specific minutia moments were pulled from the game because I didn't play the second game, but when she is trapped with that fence collapsed on her and crawling as they are right there next to her, I thought that was absolutely terrifying. And we've seen so many zombie shows and zombie movies, so it's hard to have even slight variations on sequences we've seen before, but this felt different and new just as far as the absolute horror of, well, this is the worst thing that could happen to someone. The worst thing is that they got her, but just the tension of the fact that she is trapped in that situation. Yes, you're pushing the irony meter all the way with the fact that it's Joel who's going to save her in this moment, right? And the fact that the guy that she is trying to find, trying to hunt down, trying to kill, he is her savior here. But of course, as we see at the end, it doesn't change anything for her. And again, I like that not because I'm happy that Joel is dead, but I just think that the storytelling wise, everything worked as far as this is a person who's completely broken, who the defining moment of her life was the loss of her father. So yes, in that moment, Joel saves her and she can, simmer things down enough to get to safety with him. But that's it. The second that they are in safety, she's like, no, now he is going to die. My goal that I want to accomplish, we're going to do that now. But we'll put a pin in that to say that what then followed, of course, was this sort of showdown to protect the town. Again, something we've seen a lot. Certainly The Walking Dead was on for 11 freaking years. So the idea of the onslaught, they're breaching, the zombies are getting in. We've seen that many times, but I thought this was just a really well done version of that. The fact that they were this well prepared and we didn't have to be explained beforehand that this is what we're going to do. We just watched it. We watched it play out. We understood, oh, okay, yeah, they are ready. And they've got those sort of slides set up and the canisters of gas that they can drop off. And they've got the people at the front with the guns, but then they have the other set of people in the town at the main street. They are as prepared as you can get. And you're still going to get that moment, like the guy, at least one, there might have been 2, but one of the guys who just ran with the flamethrower, when actually confronted with the reality, couldn't deal with that. That all felt, grimly realistic. But I thought this was just so exciting. kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones, flashbacks to HBO Sunday nights in the past, as far as like defending the wall or defending a castle, and this giant army attacking. Just a great sequence, really well done. And because I didn't know all the specifics of the game, I knew the big one about Joel, but I didn't know if Tommy was going to make it. And I was watching this thinking, oh my God, is Tommy going to die too at the same time? Like basically both these brothers get taken out. That would have been super dark. But no, he made it. And an excellent, just sort of exciting sequence with him. Are they called bloaters? A few years ago, I remembered all these terms for the different creatures in these games and the show when I was right in the thick of it, but I've now forgotten. I think they're called bloaters, those big guys. But that was great with him unloading the flamethrower over and over and over again until that sucker finally fell. So yeah, just I loved how that all was done. I thought like it's the most realistic you can feel about us, watching a situation play out like this. That we certainly hope we'll never see this type of zombie-esque scenario. But this felt like this is how it would go down. This is how it would really happen. I don't know if it really would, but what you want to do on a show like this is sell the reality of the situation. And I absolutely bought into this is how a well-trained, well-prepared group would prep for something like this, and all the sort of protocols of it all played out really well, down to the fact of like seeing the cleanup and seeing the guy who's just like, yeah, I have a bite, so you got to shoot me. Obviously I understand that some people are going to probably be freaking out, crying, what have you, but yeah, that guy, it's like that's the reality we live in, and this is the sacrifice I made in this moment, so it's his time to go. But people's time to go. Joel, damn. That was dark. That was grim. And yeah, just seeing Abby unleash like that. And I liked that it didn't do a lot of the cliches, which is to say, she didn't ask him, explain yourself, and he didn't even try to explain himself. I mean, it's funny because it's not that Pedro Pascal even has a lot of dialogue in general as Joel. That's kind of the nature of the character. But in his death scene, he has that one part when he says, just get it over with. But otherwise, that's all he's given. He knows what's going to happen. He knows there's no way out. Once he realizes who she is, it's like he understands the gravity situation, and he's not going to be the type of character who says, let me explain myself. Here's what happened. I was protecting someone I loved. None of that matters. And he can understand Abby, and we don't need him to even articulate that. We're very similar, you and I. He doesn't need to say that. We get it. We understand the situation, and that both these characters have, been sort of forged by the reality they're in. Now, again, knew she killed them. Didn't know it was going to go that way with, the shooting him and then taking the golf club and just the slow torture. It was awful. I didn't want to see that happen to Joel. But yeah, it just really, I think, plays right. Is right the right word? I don't know. It feels believable with what we're seeing here in this reality and these characters. And this is the lives they're leading. I have seen that some fans of the game complain that we already know Abby's motivation. I guess that was revealed differently in the game. But I don't know. I can only go by what I'm watching here on the show. I thought it worked really well. Because if we didn't know it, if she just came and said, I want Joel for revenge, first of all, I think it'd be easy to theorize that she was connected to someone from that situation. And even if she wasn't connected, that situation was something he did in the past that was going to probably be for the greater good. I know that what he did to save Ellie, of course, it's way more layered than that, because he actually was not doing the greater good. The greater good would have been to let her go to save everybody. And that's sort of the sad situation they all find themselves in. But yeah, I liked knowing exactly why Abby was there already. I didn't think it lessened the impact. I thought it added to it, at least for my perception, not having played that game. So yeah, the only thing I questioned, like took me out for a second, is because Ellie shows up and she's so distraught, she's screaming, and this is clearly someone who loves Joel very much. I kind of feel like even all of Abby's friends who knew she was going too far and wanted her to kill Joel quicker, one of them might say, maybe we just have to kill this girl. Because, of course, this is just going to set into motion the next level of revenge, right? The next revenge quest, and I'm sure, obviously, in the game where we would aim. So, yeah, I kind of wish that it had been at least articulated, and I maybe would have liked different reason that Ellie was even left alive in the first place. Dina was one thing, they'd knocked her out, but Ellie screaming, yelling for Joel, this is clearly just someone who's going to now want revenge herself. But that aside, I thought this was pretty amazing hour of television, and does make me curious sort of the specifics of where the story goes for here. I don't know how things end up for Abby, for instance, after this. I just knew the broad strokes of what she did, and why people hated her, even though other people said you shouldn't hate her. So yeah, I don't hate her. I just see it all as a tragedy, right? It's all just a bunch of characters who are living their own existence. And I also thought of Gladiator 2. It's funny. I wonder how much people brought this up when Gladiator 2 came out, because I didn't know why Abby killed Joel. I just knew she did. And now it's funny for me that I'm like, oh, Gladiator 2 was also about someone seeking revenge on Pedro Pascal for killing someone they loved, even though we understood that Pedro Pascal's character was more nuanced and we cared about him and felt bad if he was going to get killed by this person. So I guess that's a new sort of niche thing that Pedro Pascal has in his wheelhouse. But he's very good at it, and I will miss him on this show. I don't know if we're going to ever see him again. There might be more flashbacks. It is horribly tragic, of course, that he and Ellie didn't get to reconcile, but I also like that it's, again, believable that she will have to come to terms with that herself, because she could never have the conversation with him now that they were putting off. And yeah, I think that's just very powerful stuff. It's really strong storytelling. So yeah, I thought this was one of the best hours of TV I've seen this year, and that's saying something, because like every episode of The Pit was amazing, and there's been a lot of other good TV. Anyway, those are my thoughts on episode 2, season 2 of The Last of Us. Curious where it goes next. All right, guys, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be great. That's it for now. Take care.